Welcome to the video, the step-by-step system I use to consult on over £215 million worth of developments, which can be used on any development. So the results disclaimer here. This will take work to learn and implement. I don't know you, I don't know your business or what your business can create or develop. I can't promise or guarantee that this will work without knowing you or what you're trying to achieve and develop. I can only tell you what I've done and what others have done, and I'm not responsible for your actions or results. What I'm about to show you is one big mindset change, the one big mindset change to succeed in property development. The step-by-step system, a proven step-by-step system used on over £250 million worth of developments. That's probably about $300 million dollars worth of US dollars worth of developments, maybe more. And three, the key areas of knowledge, the 5 key areas of knowledge required to successfully find and deliver developments. So what I'm about to show you works if you are already a property developer and you want to move up to higher value development projects to make more profits, or you are just starting out and you are developing a single site or a bigger development, or you are an existing investor and with capital to deploy and you want to get more on your return of from your capital by developing. And it will work for new build, multi-house developments, build to rent, commercial and refurbishments, residential conversions, multi-unit service to accommodation conversions, commercial developments, mixed-use developments, any other type of property development, and any value from £0 or dollars to hundreds of millions of pounds or dollars. What will this allow you to do? Well, it will allow you to maximize profits from your development, recognize development opportunities, accurately evaluate the development opportunities, secure finance with confidence, avoid losing money in the build phase, build a team to help you deliver on each development, and make decisions with confidence at each stage, deliver the development you planned. And this is for you if you want to get into property development but you don't know anything about designing buildings, you don't know anything about managing construction, you think you might lose money if things go wrong, or you are a property developer working on smaller projects and you want to move to bigger developments to make bigger profits. You have not managed a large development, you lost money on your last development, you don't want to do it again. Who this system will not help. If your property strategy does not include any refurbishment or construction work like rent to rent or buy to let with no refurbishment, or if you know everything about running a development, you can do everything yourself and don't need my help, and you don't see any point in connecting with a like-minded group of developers or continually learning from the group experience. If either of these describe you, then this is not for you. So who am I? Well, my name's David Hill. There I am. Just move me to the bottom there, and that's a picture of me. I'm a development consultant and designer, project manager, program manager of 28 years working in the construction industry and 20 plus years as a designer, project manager and program manager, and I've been running a design and management consultancy, and I have a degree in architecture and environmental design. My experience, well, I've got residential experience on single new build houses, new build estates, estate master planning, house refurbishments, house extensions, remodels, barn conversions, commercial conversions. I've commercial and leisure experience on retail units, office buildings, fit outs and conversions, restaurants and fast food like McDonald's, KFC, and logistics and distribution, massive warehouses anywhere from 250,000 to 1 million square feet, entertainment and performance venue refurbishment, community buildings, and development site master planning. I've also got experience in healthcare with development program management in healthcare. I've built and refurbed operating theatres, radiology projects, X-ray and MRIs, decontamination, sterilisation facilities, ward departments and refurbishments, A&E, emergency room refurbishments, estate strategy and utilisation projects. I've done relocation projects within healthcare, moved departments. I've moved and designed GP practices for local doctors. I fit out of retail within the healthcare sector, and I have lease agreements and rental agreements in that sector. I've also experienced in education and the education. I've done Newbuild academies and schools, high schools, academies and schools extensions, further education college developments, classrooms and teaching facility refurbishments. I've done a digital broadcast and TV studio suite for education. I've done an audio and sound recording suite for music and spoken voice for podcasting. I've done building services projects and engineering projects, backlog maintenance projects, and estate strategy and master planning, and estates utilisation and relocation projects within that sector. So examples of the projects I've done, well, at the start of my career, I started out doing sort of more domestic, normal housing and extensions to this. And I moved through I did this several years, and I've built or designed and managed several projects, including some for private individuals, but also developers, as they're coming on the screen, including things like that, where new build houses built on the estate and things like that. I have this is an example of a little retail unit that was put on a national motor racing circuit in the UK. I've done healthcare projects, as I said. That's an example of a room where we spent about £1 million on the room. And complex services and complex buildings refurbishment there. Examples of other buildings I've worked on here is a listed building, heritage building on the left hand side, which we did a couple of £millions worth of refurbishment work in, and then the one on the right is an brand new education building in the centre of a city, where I helped the team relocate into that place, and then I did a £1 million build project to build a TV studio and sound recording studios. I've also here, this is a project for a refurbishment of another listed heritage building. This was a £137 million project to create an auditorium and event space, which will seat around about 2,000 people, and then another space to the side that's about 250 to 500 people. So, what is property development? Well, here's the overview. The definition from the Cambridge English Dictionary is the process of buying, improving and selling buildings and land and arranging for new buildings to be built. And there's the link if you want to check that. Then the other definition we use is real estate development, a group of similar buildings built in an area by a particular developer equals a company that buys land and builds houses, etc. A real estate development firm or the real estate development. And again, the link below. So, for property development, what we're essentially doing is taking buildings, houses, and land, and sometimes contracts, and we have an idea to add value, and we action that idea, and we often obtain control, obtain permissions, and refurbish and build, or sell, lease and rent the building, or operate a business from that building or that land. And by doing this, just find a good place for me there, and by doing this, that equals we create value. That wasn't a good place. We create value in either pounds, dollars, Bitcoin maybe, or euros, or whatever currency you're in. And we create cash or cash flow at the sale, lease, or disposal of that building as we exit the development. So if we were to try and put this into an equation, it would look something like this. Property P, we have a cost to purchase or obtain control of the property, plus the idea and the action, I and A, the cost of the idea plus the cost to action that idea, has got to be less than the value created. We create value, V, which is the value at the exit point. That's what we're trying to do. So the property plus the idea and the action must be less than the value created at the end, and then the excess is profit. So, property development. What does it look like? I'm going to move myself around this site again, this page. Okay, so what does this look like? Well, from the 0 to 100k deals, we're looking at deal sourcing or wholesaling, planning gain, permission gain, house flipping, HMOs or house hacks, buy-to-lets, rental property. And then if we move up at 50k to 5 million per deal, we're looking at serviced accommodation or Airbnb, new build single homes or conversions, commercial conversions to residential, and new build residential, housing estates or apartment buildings, build to rent, which again is a new build apartment building or conversion specifically to rent out as the exit strategy, and they're generally 50k to 5 million. So when we go up to 100k or 50k to a million, we're looking more like commercial lets, or commercial planning gain, commercial sourcing, flipping, and deal sourcing. And then if we want to go into the 1 million to billions per deal, we're more looking like land remediation, commercial office build, commercial industrial distribution build, commercial retail build, commercial event and destination venue build out, mixed-use developments or multi-use developments, commercial service provision, PFI and PPP or leaseback deals with companies, and then develop and lease back. And obviously there's massive overlap and massive, a project can be big or small, and therefore the deals can be small or large in terms of millions. So a huge variety of what we're doing. It's not everything was included in that development, but how do we do this anyway in that slide? But how do we do this? Well, first we need one big mindset change. We need to understand that property plus the idea and the action of obtaining control, obtaining permission, refurbish, build, sell, lease, rent, or operate the business equals the creating of the value, cash flow, as I've already said. So you need to understand one big mindset change to succeed. You need to realize you are running a project. You are running a complex project which is managing site identification, concept design, feasibility assessments, cost estimates, legal issues, local authorities, local councils, local municipalities, statutory approvals, planning and zoning, building regulations and codes, etc. Obtaining funding, lenders, partners, the bonds required, the insurances, multiple stakeholders, community groups, technical building design and construction procurement, health and safety, environmental responsibilities in the UK CDM regulations, staff welfare, direct for both direct staff and construction staff, contractor management, cost management, contract management, handover, snagging, defects period, sales, marketing, lettings, rental, leases, and tenants, either commercial or private, and a lot more. All of this is part of the real estate development project. You are running a complex project with hundreds, possibly thousands of separate tasks, where you are the glue, holding it all together. If you don't know when to do each task, you end up with something like this. But it will lead to confusion and stress, wasted time and effort, uncertainty and delay, and rushed and flawed decisions. And this can lead to extra costs and reduced profits and equity, compromised outcomes, unsuccessful developments, and potentially losses, bankruptcy, and things like this. So to succeed and run a development project, you need two things. To go from here, where you are now, to where you want to be, you need to know how to order and do each task to have a successful development. You need the two things. Number one, some knowledge or experience of project management, or access to knowledge and experience. And two, a proven system for project delivery. Remember, as a developer, you are responsible for project delivery. My proven system for project delivery. Number two, the step-by-step system I've used, the proven system for managing development projects from start to finish. And this is the system used on over £250 million worth of developments. And it's really simple. First, A, you need a vision. B, you need to design. And C, we create. Seems simple, but if we follow this order, things end up in the right order. The project ends up being successful. So I'll now take you to the development project roadmap, which explains my system. So we start on the left-hand side, and this is the vision section, A. We identify the strategy or the customer. Some people start with the site, a building or the site, but once you've found a building or site, you then have to go back to identify the strategy or customer. The strategy or customer is generally the starting point. And then we identify the requirements of that customer or that strategy. And then we identify the building site. So you end up, whichever you start with, the site or the customer, you end up having to go through the requirements for it and identify who exactly your customer is. Once we've done this, we come up with an idea for adding value to that site. We develop a concept for that site, and we develop a feasibility and business case for that site. And it's not until that feasibility and business case is in a state to move forward that we do anything else. What does this look like in reality? We identify what we're trying to do with the strategy or the customer, say a new build housing estate. We want to know roughly what size of development we're going to do, and what the customer wants, what's the average type of customer, what they're willing to buy. We look for a site, then we come up with the idea of adding value, or the idea of adding value is the new housing. Then we develop the concept, come up with construction plans and master planning, and then we run some numbers and do a feasibility and say, well, what can we buy the site for? What's the cost of construction? How much we're going to make profit out the end of it? It's not until we've been successful here that we move on to B, the design phase. Now, in this stage, we do the technical and more detailed design, and we possibly buy/control the property using contracts. We also secure funding. Obviously, to buy, we need to secure funding, which usually comes after the design, but sometimes we can obtain control of a property by using a contract or an option to purchase. At this point, once we've got control of the project, we've secured funding and we know the design, we may decide to start to look at a possible exit, but that all depends on the situation. After we've got to buy and control the property, we move on to put approvals and permissions. We look at construction procurement to actually establish real cost, and then we review the business case and say, does this add up, and do we want to move forward, or do we want to exit at this point, sell the site on for an amount of profit to another developer or someone else. If we decide to move on, we move to the create phase, and we appoint a contractor, we manage the contractor, we manage the contract between you and the contractor, we monitor the progress of the build, we manage costs, and we action the exit strategy, depending on what the exit strategy is for your project. And then once construction is complete and the development is handed back to you as the client, you have the defects period and the development is sold, rented or leased. And we exit there and we're finished. So that's the overview of the development project roadmap and how you succeed in property development. So example of the projects that I've done, well, these projects didn't get built without following that plan. That development roadmap is how these were delivered, how these projects were delivered for those clients. Now, number 3, I'm going to take you through the 5 key areas of knowledge required to enable to have a successful property development. These are the 5 key areas where you need to focus your energy when carrying out the development projects to maximize profits on your property development. Number 1, project management. First of all, you are the project manager. You might hire a separate project manager who will manage various parts of it, and he may manage the construction section, but invariably, and he also may manage the design, but he invariably won't manage the overall project. Ultimately, you as the developer need to manage the entirety of the project. You may be able to give some responsibility to a professional project manager once you bring the build on or through the phase of the project, but ultimately you are responsible. So project management, things you need to know about. Well, first of all, program. You need to know how to program works, program the development, get all the tasks in the right order. You need to think about time, cost and quality. You need to look at the design process, the design management. You need to know about Gantt charts, critical path, forecasting activities, contracts, contract management, communication skills. You need information control and project governance, and statutory approvals and health and safety, and CDM requirements in the UK, similar health and safety requirements in the US and other countries. You also, part of that project management, you also need to manage the following. Number 2, design. In the design phase, you need to define the requirements, brief the development. You need to come up with a development brief. You need to carry out feasibility assessments, concept design, cost estimation, design documentation. You need to know about technical design, planning permission or zoning permissions, building regulations and codes, and quality management. Then number 3, you need to know about procurement, and you need to understand how to obtain quotes for both consultants for designing and project managing, but also contractors. You need to know how to tender a process for both design and contractors and construction works. You need to know about tender documents, provisional costs, exclusions, assumptions, more provisional costs, post-tender analysis, and building contracts. The fourth item is you need to know about cost management. And value engineering, cash flow forecasting, substitution, design changes, specification changes, day works, valuations, measured works, variation instructions, cash flow management, and contract management. And then 5, you need to focus your knowledge and your expertise on contractor management, which is information issue, progress meetings, site visits, information exchange, avoid confusion, valuation management, instruction management, building regulations, CDM regulations, and health and safety in general on site. So to allow you to have a successful project, you need to have a very good grounding in all these topics. So to succeed, what do professional developers use? Well, they use consultants and partners. Because although there are very experienced developers, ultimately you need to ensure that you bring on the experience of others. So these consultants and partners who have spent years obtaining knowledge and experience. How successful developers approach this? Well, do they take on all the roles? They have no experience. They lose money whilst they're gaining and learning the roles. And sometimes they don't even know they've lost money, so don't gain any experience, and they repeat the same mistakes, or they go broke. Do you think that's how professional developers actually learn this? Well, no, surprisingly not. Or do you think they build a trusted advisor team, experienced trusted partners, experienced consultant team, and they harness the collective experience and knowledge to avoid losses and maximize profits whilst gaining experience? Well, yes, that's how successful professional developers work. So how long it took me to learn everything that I've shown you on this presentation? Well, it's over £100,000 pounds on my education and knowledge. It's 20 years plus experience working in the construction industry, and yes, I'm not that old. I actually started at 14. I have 20 plus years experience as a designer, and then I've 17 years experience as a project and program manager, or in project and program management. Experience in design and project management. I've experience gained on residential, commercial and industrial, education and healthcare sectors, and experience on small projects from 10,000 to 500k, and experience on development projects above 100 million. I've spent hundreds of millions of pounds of client money, or dollar of client money, spent gaining this experience. I've done these example projects here following my method and gained experience from them. I've done these projects and gained experience from them. And I've worked on this project, gaining my experience, and these projects, and these projects. So what's this worth to you? How much would you be willing to pay to gain that experience? 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, more? How much profit are you willing to lose on your projects to gain that experience? 20k on each project, 75k, 200k on each project, more? And how long are you willing to lose these profits for? 5 years? 10 years? 15 years? Can you afford to do that? It took me over 28 years to gain this knowledge and experience. Admittedly, I didn't lose money every time because we worked as a team. Are you willing to wait 28 years? Are you willing to learn and absorb all the required knowledge? Are you willing to wait 28 years to do that? Would you like a shortcut? I would like to help you identify and deliver your next development project. I would like to help you. Would you like to know more? I've created a community called Property Build Club, the private network for property developers and investors. Why I created this? Well, I noticed video after video online of people saying that on their first, second and third development project, the construction cost was more because of an issue. Often the issue they then spoke about could have been seen before starting the development if they had the advice of a professional experienced in development and construction. There are also a lot of companies that are telling you they can help you get into property development, and only a couple even mention design or construction or contractor management. Yet this is the complex part of development where profits are easily gained and lost by one decision. When I work with clients on a one-to-one basis, I charge £150,000 plus for 12 months consultation. That's probably around $200,000 and it will be more because my expenses are not included. If there's any expenses, it's in addition to this. Not everyone can afford this, and smaller projects just can't justify this cost. I can only help a small number of clients on a one-to-one basis at once as well. So I created this to help more people deliver development projects successfully and benefit from my experience and the experience of others doing it. And I want to build a community of successful developers. So who's this for? Well, it's for existing developers who want to move up to high-value development projects. You are new to property and you want to learn the professional way to deliver a development project. Or you are an existing investor with capital to deploy and you want to get more return on your capital by developing. Doing development projects, 10k to millions of pounds or dollars. Well, what projects will this work on? Well, again, this will work on single family homes, new build, multi-house developments, build to rent, apartment blocks, duplexes, quadplexes, etc. Commercial refurbishments, residential conversions, multi-unit service accommodation conversions, commercial developments, mixed-use developments, any other type of property development, and again, any value from nothing to hundreds of millions. And it'll also work anywhere in the UK, anywhere in the US, or anywhere in the world. So here we go. In fact, if it's any type of development on here or any other type of development, this will work for you. So if you would like to join Property Build Club, then click the link below this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, though, it'll be in the comments or in the More section. And if you're watching this anywhere else, there should be a button for you to click. I look forward to seeing you inside Property Build Club. Thank you.